The story comes to us from sltrib.com, which is the Salt Lake Tribune. Now, this is kind of a follow-up story. It does talk about what happened here, but I was going to give you this story when it broke, and then last night this came out, and I said, oh, so the chief is leaving. Well, the police chief at Utah State University has resigned in the face of scrutiny for comments he made about sexual assault to the football team, and those comments became public. Chief Earl Morris's decision came Thursday morning. The school has confirmed that was yesterday. He had been placed on administrative leave the day before, while USU said it was investigating the reprehensible and unacceptable comments. USU said in a news release posted Wednesday night, the leader of the university's police department must have the trust of the campus community. But Morris had warned football players that Latter-day Saint women may have sex with you, but then tell their religious leaders it was non-consensual, according to a record obtained by the Salt Lake Tribune.
We are learning that Utah State University's Director of Public Safety and Chief of Police Earl Morris has resigned. Morris has been placed on administrative leave pending an investigation into alleged comments made to USU student athletes. The university was made aware of those recorded comments earlier this week.
The women might be feeling regret for having sex before marriage, which goes against the faith's teaching of abstinence. So they'll say it was assault, Chief Morris continued. And that's any religion. I mean, not any religion, but any Christian-based faith. You don't have sex before marriage. It's fornication. And I'm not preaching. I'm just saying that's not a belief that's limited to Latter-day Saints. That's a relegated belief across all Christian faiths. The recording was also described in a federal lawsuit filed Tuesday against the school by student Katriana Flint. The university's Board of Trustees held an emergency meeting Wednesday evening. Board members immediately went into a closed session with Chair Kent Alder, saying this is an issue dealing with personnel. They talked for more than 2 hours before returning to an open session where they adjourned without a discussion or vote. Police records show the chief's annual salary was $123,000. Now, the police chief's comments on the recording, the school said in a news release, are not consistent with the university's values or the trainings provided on sexual misconduct at Utah State, nor do they reflect Utah State University's efforts to prevent sexual misconduct and reduce barriers to reporting. They say that students and employees should feel confident that when they need to report sexual misconduct, the university will respond without bias. But apparently he's talking about Latter-day Saint women, like singling them out. That's biased. The decision to originally put Morris on leave by the school's administration, said Utah State University spokeswoman Amanda Dorito and Morris's supervisor. What they're saying is, I had to read that like 6 times. I don't know, maybe I need coffee. But what they're saying, the original decision was to put him on leave, like a unpaid suspension or paid suspension, something, pending the outcome of investigation. But the Tribune's attempts to reach Morris were unsuccessful, and he decided to just resign. Like he said, I'm not going on leave. I'm just going to quit. Kent Harris, who has worked in Utah State University's police department for 12 years, has been named interim public safety director and police chief, the 2 titles held by Morris. He is currently a captain in the police department. Now, Flint, who reported she had been sexually assaulted by a football player in 2019, alleges in court papers that the university continues to protect its football team and brushes aside women who report assault by its members. Her attorney, Michael Young, declined to comment on Morris's departure Thursday morning. Her attorney isn't commenting on the police chief's resignation. In a blistering report in 2020, the U.S. Department of Justice detailed a pattern of mistreatment of victims at Utah State University. Federal investigators found that the Utah State repeatedly mishandled cases of sexual assault on campus, failing to act when it knew about misconduct, which meant it was leaving additional students vulnerable. The federal report largely focused on Utah State University's treatment of football players and fraternities, which both had members accused in high-profile cases of sexual assault and misconduct in recent years. Those cases received minimal investigation when a report was filed to Utah State University. Investigators found. Let's unravel that. Let's not. There's more to it. I will put a link to it in the description box below. So the police chief basically gets up and says, okay, don't be messing with LDS women, because like they'll go and say it was non-consensual and they'll lie on you. How do you know? But apparently a lot of people are saying that this university might have some problems. And there's a lot of colleges and universities that have this similar problem. And the football players, man, if you're a football player, it's like being a cop. You're God. You can walk through that campus and do whatever and they'll back you. It seems like. I don't know. I've seen football players get suspended for certain things, but what do you think?